Well, good evening, folks. This is Bob Gums bringing you the Concern Forum. And I have a few tidbits that I think you all should be interested in. First of all, there seems to be a big to do about this whole Kirk Memorial. I believe that this Kirk Memorial will be the day that it will be remembered as one of the days that one of the two major parties, the Republican Party, declared war on black people, uh, trans people, immigrant people, believe it or not, women. And what really angers me is the fact that these bastards in Washington and some of these right-wing MAGA senators, they want the whole country to kneel down and kiss the feet of Charlie Kirk. Look, I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. No one has the right to murder anyone. Okay. However, and I'll be straight up about this. I understand that he has a that he had a family. I understand he has two kids. That's rough. I know. Okay. And as I said before, I lost my firstborn to gun violence. So hey, I've been there. I know. But Charlie Kirk was someone that all he did was basically try to inspire hate against other people. His words speak for themselves. He was the one with his fake, phony Christianity who said that he does not believe in empathy, that it's a bad thing. Well, if you're going to call yourself a Christian and then you're going to say that you don't believe in empathy, what the hell kind of Christianity are you talking about? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't give a damn if you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, Confucian. I really don't give a crap. I have my own spiritual beliefs, and that's my damn business. But I was a former Roman Catholic. I did the altar boy thing. I know a little something about Judeo-Christianity. And the thing about Christianity is that, the thing about Judeo-Christianity is that you're supposed to have empathy. What was that? Love thy neighbor as thyself? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What you do to the least of these, so you do to me. All that good stuff. So I don't understand what this business is about. I'm not going to shed a whole bunch of tears for a guy that doesn't believe in empathy. He said what he said. He said that we should be willing to have this, have the murders that we have in this country, which is over 40,000 a year, to show that we have, that we love and protect our Second Amendment rights to blow each other away. Those are his words, okay? Not mine. He was the one that believed that, he was against gun control. So why do you now expect me to feel sorry for him? And I want to tell you something else too. I see a few sniveling, sneaking black politicians uh, trying to, and some sniveling black media commentators, uh, trying to say, oh, well, it's horrible. We can feel sorry for them. No, listen, his kids and how his wife and kids deal with that tragedy, their tragedy, hey, more power to them. But I'm not going to get on my hands and knees and cry over Charlie Kirk. Am I glad he's dead? Well, I don't miss him. All right. It's bad luck to wish death upon anyone, but I'm going to be honest about it. I don't miss him. Uh, if people want to make comments about him, this is America. And just like you like the Second Amendment out there, I like the first. You know that one. freedom of speech and expression. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's dead. Hopefully, for his sake, he's gone to a better place. But I do believe that right now he's got some questions to answer to the boss upstairs. So I'm so angry that some of our cowardly politicians are not coming out and saying, "Well, look, unfortunately, he was murdered, but the hell with this bullshit." The guy was no prima donna. And when you raise the flag half-mast for someone like this, you are telling every man of color, every woman of color, every American woman, every immigrant or descendant of immigrants that you feel that they ain't garbage. Because all Charlie did was basically talk about people who did not look like him and believe like him. He spoke about those people like they were garbage. And we have all this down. All this is on video. This is not, oh, well, I heard he said that. No, it's right there. You can look it up. So this idea also about somebody wants to talk about putting a statue. Why? Do we put up statues to Hitler? Do we put up statues to George Wallace or Lester Maddox or Lincoln Rockwell? I think that one of the problems that we have in America is that, remember, 54% of the people in this country read below grade level. Okay, in other words, they read below the sixth grade reading level. I think that's a large part of the problem. That's why Donald Trump, remember what Donald Trump said? I love the undereducated. And we can see why. So I really take a strong stand on people commenting about Charlie Kirk. If you want to say that, if you publicly feel that he was a rat, go for it. This is America. We have freedom of speech here. And what's the name of Lima or whatever that woman's name running around the White House? If she doesn't like it, tough catuies, as far as I'm concerned. I spent 26 years serving this country, defending the Constitution. Now, if she has a problem with that, maybe she's in the wrong country. I understand that she is a deep-seated Israeli supporter of the Israeli government, the present government. Maybe that's what she needs to go back to. It's funny. The right wing is always talking about, if you don't like it here, why don't you leave? Well, I think that that's what she needs to do. Okay, if you don't like our Constitution, baby, maybe you need to hit the road. Okay, something else too. I resent the vice president of the United States. Now, remember, this is the same vice president that called Donald Trump Hitler just a few years ago. So now I guess he thinks that somehow by making himself into a right wing idiot, that somehow that's going to bring him some kind of praise. Well, I guess maybe it will from certain quarters, but I don't think from the mass majority of the American voter. I think that people in this country are finally starting to get wise to this whole MAGA garbage. Okay, just a bunch of poor, usually lower educated people, very bitter about their lot in life, never stopping to think, well, maybe if they started voting for people that really gave a damn about them, that maybe that might help their lot in life improve. So you take that, Mr. Vice President, and you can also kiss my brown butt. That's for the comment that you passed along about black people from Haiti stealing their neighbors' cats and dogs and eating them. Okay? That offends me personally. My father was from the American Virgin Islands, but his father was from the Dominican Republic. And I believe his mother was from Haiti. So you personally insult me. You insert my mother, okay, nice Virginia lady, right? Her ancestors helped build Monticello. So your boy Charlie said that her brain was the size of a peanut or a walnut, and was not capable of doing the things that a white male's brain could do. So yeah, I think the kindest thing I can say to you, Mr. Vice President, is to go screw yourself. You talk about my mom and be happy that's all you're getting. Okay? And another thing, you bunch of damn hypocrites that are bowing down to this racist icon, because that's what he was. Remember Coleman Kaepernick when he took a knee? Because all he was saying was about the amount of black men that were killed by law enforcement in many American cities. And all he did was to kneel and pray. And a lot of you folks out there, y'all went crazy. I'm American. All this other good crap. Well, I'm trying to understand, why is it that when one of yours, and when I say yours, I mean right-wing bigot, says things that are anathema to the American way, you don't say nothing. It's okay. Right? Just like that person that you have in the White House who calls himself president. That's all right. It's all right for Donald Trump to hop up and down on the stage and humiliate handicapped people. Remember when he did that? When he humiliated trying to copy a handicapped journalist? Remember when he did that? Yeah, but you folks didn't hold it against him. You didn't try and run him out of public life. You didn't get together with those clown owners in the NFL and say, we're going to try and get this guy out of the job. You didn't do that, but you did that to Coleman. And all he wanted to do was get on the knee and pray. See, that's why the world sees you for the phonies that you right-wing folks are. See? Now, if you want to also talk about this whole trade business, the only thing I ever heard Charlie Kirk say about the tariffs that has literally torn the white rural American heartland into pieces was that the tariffs were a good idea. Well, now Charlie can have a chance to talk to a lot of them farmers, a lot of them white farmers that committed suicide because of the fact that this whole tariff thing has cost them to lose farms, family farms that have been in their family, in some cases, almost 200 years. So maybe Charlie can have the opportunity to explain to those farmers up there why he didn't seem to take too much of an interest in their economic struggles. And I was going to save this part for last. Let me see if I can bring this up forward. We're at a time now, Western Europe is starting to have economic hard times. America definitely is having hard times. The last continent that we can call a literal treasure house is the continent of Africa. Now, I'm trying to figure out, I mean, I know that Donald is interested in Africa. For example, I know that he is trying to cause trouble in South Africa. This whole thing about Western South Africa, the Cape Town area, trying to go against the government in Johannesburg. I believe that Trump has something to do with that. Maybe through some certain corporations, maybe some former CIA types. But yeah, I think that Donald Trump is trying to instigate trouble in South Africa because South Africa, it's a gold mine, literally, it's a gold mine. The whole continent, right? Everything. Why do you think the Europeans stayed there for so long, right? And was so hard to get them out? Because it's a damn good thing. From the top of Africa down to the tip. Gold, bauxite, uranium, cobalt, silver, uh, vegetation, farmland, you name it. Now, you picture this in your mind. You want to go and talk to a particular African country. Maybe you want to do some kind of like military agreement relations, like we used to do in Asia. You send your troops over the West Point, Annapolis, we'll send our guys there and, help watch your back, so on and so forth, with like terrorists or what have you. Now, how the hell are you going to do that? How in the hell do you expect to look at Nigeria, look at the Congo oil, right? How are you going to do treaties with people that you've said were nothing but shithole countries? Now, look, don't get this wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that the African nations they're so upset by the way non-white people in America are treated, they're going to jump in war canoes and paddle across the Atlantic and confront the United States government for their treatment of Black Americans. No, that ain't going to happen, right? Because nations are just like everybody else. They have their own interest. But when you try to do a deal with them, remember, in the back of their mind, they're going to be thinking, this guy expects to get a great deal with me, yet he thinks that on the evolutionary scale, I'm about that much above a gorilla. How do you think people feel about that? You saw what happened with India, right? They were supposed to be our friends of America. But what did Trump do? Trump decided he was going to bully them, primarily because they are a non-white nation. That's why China keeps them awake at night. Which is funny because you don't see him worrying that much about Putin and Russia, right? You see where I'm going with this? You have an administration right now that's dedicated to white supremacy. And I tell the average working class white person that having a presidential administration that is dedicated to white supremacy does not help you in the least. Racism doesn't pay anymore. This is the 21st century. Uh, People will have to learn how to live and work together. Otherwise, what does America like to call everybody else? Third world nations? That's what America is rapidly heading for. And the funny thing is that the nations of America always called third world nations. Well, guess what? Those so-called third world nations, they are rapidly rising. And America, through its own stupidity, is rapidly heading to the basement. And then you toss in all the jobs that corporate America literally stole from America, from the heartland, and sent overseas. You take the fact that AI it's going to put millions of Americans out of work, right? Why? Because business, way we do capitalism, okay, market-based capitalism, money talks, bullshit walks, okay? That's what all these idiots that talk about, oh, we should run America like a business. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you can't. Okay? No, because a business and a nation are two different things. Now, they can help each other, but you can't run one like the other. And see, that's where all these Republicans with this idea of turning America into a business, that's where it fails. That's why you have hundreds of thousands of people out in the street Seriously. And that's something that we have yet to deal with, that our politicians have yet to deal with. So, quite frankly, I think that America, what we need to do, you need to adopt that white nationalist, white supremacy game once and for all. Because America is about, what, less than 4% of the population of the planet. And you're going to have to work with people. See? Nobody's saying you got to get in bed with them. Nobody says that you got to kiss them every day, right? But you have to learn that you're going to have to give other human beings basic respect. Otherwise, it's only going to hurt you. Now, I see those farmers out there. I see a lot of federal employees, believe it or not. I see a lot of people, factory jobs, manufacturing jobs, retail jobs, what have you. And y'all got on that Trump train because for some odd reason, the idea of a black Asian woman, I don't know, somehow it made you didn't feel right. See? So what did you do? You voted for the convict. Yeah, he's a convict. Okay, he's got convicted. If the FCC wants to jump down my throat, tell him take a look at court records. The man's a convicted criminal. Okay, just like any of those kids out there, right, that were busted for holding crack or uh, snatching the pocketbook or whatever. Right, the man's a convicted criminal, and you chose to put your future, your life, your health care, the health care of your children, of your parents. You chose to put all of that in the hands of a convicted criminal instead of a woman that was a former prosecutor, a former state's attorney general, excuse me, the state attorney general for the state of California, a woman that was a United States senator, a woman that was a vice president of a sane administration. Not that everything that Joe Biden did was perfect. Some things I definitely disagree with, but there was a sense of sanity in the White House. And she was there for that. That was her experience. But no, you went for the con man talk show host, convicted criminal, and now we see a guy that is basically running cover for child sex traffickers. That's what you did. And did that ring in your head as you were seeing your farm, your family farm going down the toilet? Because China don't want your soybeans, right? Uh, you retail people who voted against your best interest. How does it feel as you see Walmart closing down stores, as you see, what is the Target closing down stores? You federal employees, right? And I hate to say this, but some of you disabled vets, that really hurts me because I'm a disabled vet myself. How did it feel when Trump and Elon Musk kicked you out of your federal job and didn't give a damn about the fact that you got disabled in the service for this country? Now, it's hard to tell the future. None of us really have a crystal ball, but we can make a reasonable, most of the time, a reasonable approximation thereof. And I'm going to tell you something. I seriously doubt Mr. Farmer, Old McDonald, out there in the heartland. Hey, baby, I seriously doubt that Kamala Harris would have screwed you out of your farm. I seriously doubt it. Okay? You federal employees that voted for Trump and now you're out of work. I truly doubt Kamala would have pushed you people out of their jobs. You folks in retail, I seriously doubt Kamala would have torn apart the economy in such a way so that, you know, big retail business would have just said, hey, man, look, we're not going to make any money like this. We're closing this joint down. We're closing that joint down. and you folks are just going to have to move on. I seriously doubt if Kamala Harris will let that happen to you. But, and I'm telling you to your face, many of you, you voted behind the veil. I won't say racism, perhaps bigotry, and you listen to Trump and these clowns in MAGA talk about trans people. Let me ask you something straight up. Now, I'm a happily married guy. As a matter of fact, I just got married a few days ago to a very nice lady, very nice Ugandan lady. But let me ask you something. The fact that you yelled at trans people, right, cursed them, called them names, and then you voted for Donald Trump. Let me ask you something. Did that help you keep your job? And Farmer O. McDonald, did you jump up and down worrying about trans people? Did that help you? Or is that helping you save your farm? All those farmers in the heartland have committed suicide behind this terrible agricultural problem that we're having with losing farms and everything. Those dead guys, right? I believe they're all men. Are they happy? You voted for the white guy, right? Who just happened to be a convicted criminal and who attacked trans people, right? You voted with MAGA. And then the economy, it was tortured so badly by Trump. Your whole farm life just went to hell. And you wound up as you know, in the Catholic Church, they say, God forgive you for committing the sin of suicide. But believe me, I can understand that. It's scary to see your whole life's work go. And you have to look at your family's face and the preparation that you might have had for their future, all gone. Yeah, I can see that would make a guy want to bump himself off. And I empathize. I really do. But, and I'm going to assume, forgive the sin of presumption, but I'm going to assume that you guys are up there somewhere, looking down. Do you think it was worth it? Do you think the vote for Trump was worth it? Do you think that you would be up there now if you had voted for Kamala Harris? If you guys had got together and said, look, we know this we know he's a clown, we know he's a crumb. We know he can't be trusted. But you guys did just the exact opposite. You organized together, whole counties voted for Trump. And now you're dead. And your family misses you. And like I said, I'm not trying to be funny. It hurts. It hurts. Suicide is one of the most painful things there is. And like I said earlier, I understand blood ties. I understand blood loss. Okay, because it happened in my family. But I'm just saying to your survivors, was it worth it? Was this whole MAGA white nationalist thing, was it worth it? Is what this country is going through now, is it worth it? We got some people that say, hey, we want to tear up the First Amendment because we don't like what you have to say. Is that right? Is that America? You think it was worth it? You think Kamala Harris would have done that? I don't think so. Okay? I mean, like I said, I can't look at no crystal ball, but I don't think so. I don't think no Democrat would dare do something like that. Because the freedom of speech, I mean, people like to talk about, well, yeah, I'm proud to be the American. Well, why are you proud? Supposedly because of our freedoms. If you start taking away our freedoms, what the hell are we? You know, no, we can't. This is madness, and it needs to stop. Right? You got to stand up to bullies. You truly do. Trump is a bully. Vance is a bully. We've been killing fishermen off the coast of Venezuela like there's no tomorrow. And we don't know why. Oh, we know Trump says they're running drugs. Damn, that seems a pretty. You're going to run coke or fentanyl, and Venezuela is not known for fentanyl. Okay, as a matter of fact, that's not really a Latin. That's not a thing in South America. Okay, so what's he saying? That they're running coke? Okay, you're going to run on a fishing boat, a small ass fishing boat filled with coke, and you're going to run it from Venezuela. I guess to where? Where you trying to go? With Cuba? Off the coast of Miami? Not feasible. And then you got the Navy down there. When I was in the Navy, we used to do interdictions. If something was suspicious or we had a bunch of refugees on the boat, we stopped the boat and searched the boat and find out what the hell is there. We just didn't murder people. Ever stop? It's just the thing about this administration that really ticks me off. They don't think about the psychological damage that can happen when they send American soldiers slash National Guard into American cities and what could jump off. They don't think about the psychological damage when you send naval air people to just blow up shit, right? With no kind of proof whatsoever. It's not easy to kill a man, believe it or not. I mean, I don't know, it ain't like in the movies, trust me, right? It's it's psychologically damaging, okay? But there goes Trump. He's blowing up one boat had 11 people, another boat had three more, like 3 people, and he wants to bomb some more boats. But we ain't seen no proof yet. My God, even in '64, right? Um, when we know they faked the whole attack by the North Vietnamese, at least they went through the trouble to try and produce fake evidence. Trump he hasn't even bothered to do that. And remember, this was a guy that it was incredible. It was found lied something like about 30,000 times in his first term. And I asked the question, what is he turning our country into? What's that joke they had around his first term? You let your boy borrow the car, right? Yo, Steve, here, man, you can borrow the car. I know you got a big date tonight. She's hot. You want to have a car? Cool. And you give him the keys to the car. The next day, late in the afternoon, he comes driving back with the car, and it's all bent out of shape and what have you. And the first thing out of your mouth, yo, dude, what did you do to my car, man? Well, that's the way we should feel about Donald Trump. We already gave him the keys to the car in 2016. And look what he did with it. And we gave it to him again. It's like giving a guy who you know is a habitual drunk driver keys to the car a second time after you already saw what he was capable of doing the first time. And that's what America did. Listen, man, if you go and I really have a hard time understanding a certain type of person or certain types of people. Because if you're going to vote to have a circus, why are you surprised when the clowns show up? You know? I mean, that's the situation that we're in. It ain't good out there, people. It's not good on Main Street America. And we did it to ourselves. We truly did. And now we're being asked to give up everything that Americans hold dear: our freedom of speech, the ability to go to a university and hear different types of lectures on different subjects. I mean, my kid's going to be forced to sit down and be in the sixth grade and have a certain type of religious book shoved down his throat. On top of that, I ain't gonna be, I can't find a job, and I'm worried about feeding my little kid. So, what has been gained by putting this convicted criminal, blah blah blah, blah, back in the White House? I don't see it. I really don't. And this whole business with Charlie Kirk, it's a mockery. It's a mockery of America. And I want to remember every government official, every senator that showed up to that stupid ass memorial. Because America, we have much great, great heroes that we can put a flag and a half mast for. Like that lady up that was the speaker for the Democratic lady who was the speaker for the state house up in Minnesota. Right? We have all types of heroes: Black heroes, white heroes, Asian heroes, Latino heroes. So, and indigenous people who are heroes. So why in the hell did you have to select a confirmed racist and hate monger? Because that's what he was. Yeah, it's a shame he got assassinated. Okay, cool. We get that. But we're talking about what the man was and what he did with his short time on earth. And it seems that ever since he was rejected from West Point, he tried to get in. They said, you can't cut the mustard. And from then on, he went in a downhill spiral. So, excuse me. So all he did with his young wife was breed hate. And this, you want to put a statue up to on federal property? This, you raise the flag at half mast for? Are you crazy? And like I said, you have some of these, we call them Sambos and then the black community, right? Yeah, these black people like Tim Scott, people like that, Stephen Smith, people like that, who talk about, oh, well, the Democrats like to keep black people on the plantation. And I'm just curious, what the hell does that got to do with anything? Mr. Smith, your country, the country that I'm sure you've had military people in your family, some of whom might even have lost their lives, right? Well, these people and yourself live now in a country where people who scorn uh, people of color, black men, black women, right? They are not seen as heroes by a segment of this population. Quite frankly, I believe that with Donald Trump, his vice president, the Republican Party, especially in the Senate, what they have done, they have betrayed every black, white female, Asian, Latino, and indigenous person serving in the military. We have a military, count all the minorities, black, Latino, Asian women, something like about 45% non-white male. And what Trump and Vance have done, they have smacked him in the face. And I am so disgusted with Vance, even more so, in a way, even more so than Trump, because Vance at least knew once upon a time that Trump was a Hitler. He said so, number one. Number two, I'm not all that sure about how he served in the Corps, but just by the fact that he was able to go through boot camp and become a Marine, um, that tells me that he has some idea of what's up as opposed to down. You know, I put him in the same hall of shame that I put that other guy who used to be Trump's best buddy. Uh, I can't think of his name right now. The one that was he was busted for taking money for the wall, and I don't know, down with some Chinese businessman, and we had some kind of radio show now, and he was a former naval officer. Guys like that, they hurt me because they took the same oath I did. And I think it's a very sad thing to see. It's like a good man going bad. And that's how I look upon the vice president, quite frankly. Because in his state of Ohio, when he was running for Senate, he spread that vicious, filthy rumor about black folks stealing dogs and cats and eating them. And I'm sorry, I would have expected a little more out of a Marine who decided to go into public life, especially a Marine that got where he got uh, through DEI. Oh yeah, DEI, it ain't just for black folks, it ain't just for black women, right? Biggest beneficiaries have been white women, which is fine. They deserve it, right? I think everybody that gets DEI deserves it, including trailer park type white kids from Appalachia who got who get the opportunity to go to, was it Yale or Harvard, the way Vice President Vance did, and who went to school, got his whole education, right? Bachelor's degrees, law school degree, got all that good stuff on the public dime. And you know what? That's good because that's what America's supposed to do. Our country is supposed to take care of its own people. So I don't, I don't hold anything against Vance for being a DEI baby. That was good and proper and deserves. But what makes me sick to my stomach is the fact that now you want to attack everybody else. And had the nerve to say Vice President Harris was a DEI baby. I think every job she ever had, except maybe the first one, as a local county prosecutor, everything else she got elected to. And see, that's what happens when these people put out this garbage, see. And people who don't know any better, they run out and they vote against their own interests. And that's a big reason why we are in such trouble in this country. But no, we should not give up our freedom of speech to no damn body. Okay? Because that's what makes Americans American, quite frankly. This asshole he put in the FCC, I don't know who the hell he thinks he is. I don't like this, so I'm going to do my best to create trouble and problems for people. Where's that written in the Constitution? I don't like what you have to say, so I'm going to swat you. Now, I understand we have certain, okay, I do this video, right? But if I'm on a cable network or whatever, I can't have porno at 7 o'clock in the evening. I understand that. That's community standards, right? But I'm curious, why is it that now who did they slam here, or they tried to slam? I believe I wrote down their names here. Da, 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 da. Ah, two guys, right? One from what was it? I think CBS. The other one, um, Kinnear. I screw up with names, something awful. And the last one, he didn't even say anything. I mean, he didn't make up a joke. He just repeated something that Trump said, right? And they, chased him away from his job and everything. Okay. Well, tell you what I did yesterday. I got in contact with that those gentlemen that come on Midas, and they're hooked up with the law firm and whatnot. I wrote to them. I don't know what their response would be. I hope it's a good one, and I hope they can help me because I want to sue Brian Kilmeade. Yes, I do. I most certainly do. I want to get that guy Jesse Waters also, that pansy. But I think Brian Kilmeade, I think that's bigger game, quite frankly. And I'll tell you why I'm doing it. Ah, when I came out of the Navy, when I came back from the Gulf War, I came back kind of earlier than most folks did. Most people did. I mean, because the way my enlistment was set up. About 2 months after that, I got a job with the federal government. I was a manager um, at the Smithsonian Institute in D.C. Nice job, nice job. I was a management assistant in security. Nice shirt, tie, and suit every day. Unfortunately, that's around the time that my late wife and myself, we had our son. She was, as a matter of fact, she gave birth to him when I was still in the Navy, my last 2 weeks in the Navy. And she gave birth to my son. Uh, she had also contracted, we didn't know it at the time, but she had contracted some kind of sarcoidosis. Okay. And she had started going to school, working a part-time gig after got back from the Navy, and I went in the Navy Reserve. I came back, and this was because I went into the Navy Reserve about 2 days after I came off active duty. Then I went into the Navy Reserve, and then late January, the unit I was in, we went to Sicily, right? And I was there for we were there for 2 weeks doing our 2 week training thing. Came back, started, went back to work at the Smithsonian, and days passed, and my wife started getting real ill, heavy vomiting and whatnot. Sarcoid is mainly found, there's Italian, Mediterranean Jewish people, black people. It has something to do, uh, Arabs, Palestinian people. It has something to do with the immune system whacking out. I was told, and because it was supposed to be something that protected people from malaria, I believe, and it just sometimes it just whacks out. It's the first cousin to lupus. Okay, to help make that a little clearer. But at that time, we didn't know that. And we went through doctors for about 6 or 7 months until finally we came across one that really knew and was able to diagnose it. And so my son, my wife, and myself, we spent almost 5 years watching her gradually get sicker. And sometimes she would be like, oh, and she was beautiful. She was like, you look at her, kind of reminds you of Janet Jackson in her prime, all right? I used to think, I kind of still do in a way, that somehow they're distantly related because they were so similar. Anyway, um, sometimes she would blow up to about 325, and she was about 5'6", and she would blow up to about 325 pounds. And then sometimes she would drop weight down to about maybe 105. It was a rough disease. I think that she was overdosed too much on prednisone. And prednisone has a very funny effect on some people psychologically. So basically, to make a long story short, my son and myself went through hell for almost 5 years, trying to work, trying to take care of him. And it finally got so bad that I had to give up the job at the Smithsonian. Okay, there was some politics behind that, but I had to give up the job, and racial politics at that. Back in the 60s, in the 19, what was it, 1995, 94, in the mid-90s, the Smithsonian was not good about, um, giving performance letters to the black federal workers. But that's a whole other story. But anyway, I couldn't play the games anymore because I felt that my wife needed me, and I was her sole caregiver. Then finally, they took her away from us and kept her in the intensive care ward. And ultimately, she passed away in 2001, January 2001. And talk about a whole lot of money, a whole lot of dislocation. At that time, we had moved to Newark, New Jersey. Couldn't find, any kind of decent daycare, and it was a mess. And it wound up that my son and myself, we literally had to walk the street sometime in between having stops at, shelters, halfway shelters, homeless shelters. And I'll be honest about it, it screwed him up, screwed me up. I still feel it sometimes. And yeah, we were homeless for a while. And I'll tell you something, there are a lot of those homeless people, especially men, a lot of those guys are veterans. Okay? A lot of those guys are heroes. Right? I never consider myself a hero. No. But something happened when I was under Nimitz back in the early 80s. And I was involved in a very dangerous action. And that's why I look at people like Jesse, what's his name, Waters and Kilmeade. These guys are pansies. And they don't know what it's like seeing a dead shipmate blown to pieces laying across the flight deck. Uh, and it seemed like all of that just it all came together at bang. And I say right now publicly, if it wasn't for my little son at that time, I would probably wind up being in a freaking nut house. Okay, I was definitely going, but he was the one that held me together, you know. But it cost him, and it cost me. We made our way through it. He's a grown man now. He does his own thing and blah blah blah. And I'm fortunate. I left the Bronx and I came over to Uganda, try and do something with this video thing, maybe do some good, get some support. And I happened to have met a very nice young lady, and we got married. And I'm happy in my own skin. But when I heard Brian Kilmeade make that comment, well, the first comment that really bugged me was when Jesse Waters talked about, yeah, we on the right, we need to go to war against the left. And I'm like, this little pansy's talking about going to war against fellow Americans. If he saw a dead man, he'd probably puke, number one. And then when I heard Brian Kilmeade, that was it. talking about he wanted to kill homeless people, so they should kill them, give them more euthanasia. And like I said, I think what's a damn near half of homeless people, definitely men, these guys are veterans. And that showed me the hypocrisy of the whole MAGA right wing Republican thing. They don't give a damn about Americans. And they'll tell lower educated, rural white Americans that guys like me, black guys like me, or Latino guys are the enemy. And they have just as much contempt for working class white people as they have for me or for Latino or indigenous guy or for women. See? And that hypocrisy really, it just, and then when he talks about, euthanizing homeless people. Well, I remember from studying history, that's how the Holocaust in Germany, that's how it started. They didn't start off throwing Jews in ovens. It didn't start off like that. It started off in the cities, right? In the hospitals, taking mentally ill people, uh, which you might want to call vagrants, whatever, at that time, and killing them. That's how it started. That's when it began. That's when the idea of killing human beings that you don't find socially acceptable, that's when it started. And so I said, well, my God, I got to do something. Because a lot of times, too many people sit around and say, oh, that's a shame, but they don't do a damn thing. Well, I'm doing something. Okay? I hope the folks of mine can help me. I want to sue that bastard. I want to sue him. I want to sue Fox. As a former homeless person, I feel I have a right to do so. And as an American, and as somebody who considers himself an empathetic, decent human being, or at least I try to be, yeah, I need to speak on that. So I want to conclude with that. Just let you guys know what I'm up to. And we will talk later. In the meantime, pay attention to what's going on. Stand up for your First Amendment rights. And America, we do have things to be very proud of. Okay, we're not perfect. We are not perfect. But we do have things to be proud of. Don't let the Trump administration, Trump, Vance, people like Charlie Kirk, don't let them take that away from us. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Peace.